One of the most interesting things about the triangle, the famous royal love triangle, Charles, Camilla, Diana, is the way it went against our usual expectations. We expect the mistress to be glamorous and beautiful, and the wife to be frumpy, plain Jane. And this triangle was completely contrary because Diana was, by any, she was younger than Camilla. She was prettier than Camilla. She had a much better sense of style. But Charles preferred Camilla. How do we explain this? Why would he prefer a woman older and less attractive to a beauty like Diana? And quite simply, the marriage of Charles and Diana was to a large extent doomed from the start because these two people did not have common interests. Camilla did. Camilla liked horses and polo and, architecture and philosophy and all the interests that Charles had. Diana didn't have those interests. They bored her. So, quite simply, the two people, Diana and Charles, didn't have much to talk about. They didn't have the same interests, so they didn't have much to talk about. And so, after a while, any sort of intellectual or emotional connection kind of evaporated. Camilla shared his interests. So he was attracted to her, even though by any standard, she was not as attractive as Diana. And so I think that's one of the interesting things about that love triangle is the fact that the plain Jane was the mistress and the glamorous woman was the wife, but it was the plain woman that Charles wanted because she was, had more in common with him. Another problem in the marriage of Charles and Diana is that Diana, without wanting to or trying to, invariably upstaged Charles. Okay. Charles himself is not a particularly handsome man. He's dug-eared and plain. Okay. Camilla doesn't upstage him. They kind of share the spotlight equally, or maybe he has more of the spotlight because he is, after all, the king, or he was the prince. And I do think it's interesting also that Charles made it clear to the people around him that his relationship with Camilla was non-negotiable. That was supposedly the word he used, non-negotiable. And quite simply, he was going to marry her, whether it was good for the monarchy or not. But ultimately, one thing that's good for the monarchy is a happy monarch. And Camilla is a good fit for Charles. Hope you liked hearing that.